when I drop a video and it only does 2,000 views. I'm like, I don't care. And that anime changed my life. Because that anime is just like Naruto in the sense of the never give up, but it's so much more meaningful to me. Again, like I said at the beginning, you got to know who you are. And the earlier you can figure out who you are and tune into what your strengths are, the better. I hate feeling like I am being told what to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog. And oh my God, especially One Piece fans.
You're 24. You have amassed a massive following on TikTok, a massive following on Instagram. You know, how did Shizzle Mac become Shizzle Mac? Like, what was, like, how did you get to that point? Like, what was the catalyst?
So I would say that if I wanted to like have like a more anime centric name, it probably would do a lot more for me in terms of growth. But I don't want to because I've had the name Shizzle for so long. Basically, it's not really a long story. It's kind of really quick to explain. When I was in high school, my name, my real name, I had a certain nickname that pretty much everybody calls me, like where I'm from, and it's in high school. A lot of the females that went to my school would call me this name. So a lot of the guys didn't want to call me that because they felt like it was a little sus. So they was like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna just call you Shizzle Mac. So I was like, oh, I like
All
that.
right.
So I went on Instagram and made like my Instagram username, um, my nickname underscore Shizzlemac. And then when I started making content, I just dropped the my nickname and I started calling myself because originally I was making breakdance content. So I was B-boy Shizzlemac. And then I just dropped the B-boy and then I just went with Shizzlemac and I never changed it. So since I was in high school.
Oh, that's fire. I didn't know you was a b-boy. That's dope. That's fire.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I still like to break dance a little bit, but I don't really do it competitively or nothing like that. I know a couple guys in the anime community who actually do break dance. They just keep it low key. But
Right.
yeah, how I got into anime content, uh, I actually wanted to make anime content forever. Um, Skits and commentary videos. I always wanted to do that. I really started loving like anime content when I first started watching RDC World 1 when I was in high school. But I remember the first anime video I ever made. It was so I actually started off doing anime dance videos. And I would basically like take like a soundtrack like Sadness and Sorrow from Naruto, and I would just dance to it and post it on Instagram. And when TikTok had came out, I actually had just started watching One Piece. So um, my first anime skit that I made was I had like I was like dressed up. I had a basket on my head, and I was pretending to be Usopp from One Piece. And I would be, you know how Usopp, he's always like, "Oh, I got that. Those I'm scared to go to the island." Is he? Yeah. So like I would, and that was my first video, and it went viral. It got like 100,000 views on Instagram. But I would say I was making content before I started making anime content. Because my first video that
Okay.
technically ever went viral was a Fortnite dance video where I was dancing doing the Orange Justice from Fortnite. I don't know if you know what that is, but that was like back when Fortnite had first blew up.
I
So
think I know, but I'm not familiar with the actual dance names. But yeah.
it's I don't know what else it's called. It's the one where they like this, like you know.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I know I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep. I think a lot of times, a lot of people that maybe watch people's content, they just assume, hey, this is the only thing that I do. It's the only thing I'm into. Um, you know, obviously, a lot of us have other work that we do outside of the content. So have you had a chance to just go full time in content, or do you currently work and do that alongside your content creation?
So I haven't been able to go full time with content yet. I'm still really working to like monetize my stuff. Right now, I'm more so focused on growth than like trying to monetize every aspect of my content because I feel like the money's gonna come with because I'm passionate about what I do, but I think that
Right.
too many content creators, especially in the anime community, they pigeonhole themselves into only making anime content, and they make their entire brands around anime, which you don't own the IP to anime. So I mean, what I'm going to do, it's a lot more stuff I want to incorporate, especially this year. I've been posting videos with my wife on my Instagram. They like, I think we just posted one like 2 days ago and it went
That's
viral.
dope.
It's at like 600, 700K or something like
That's
that.
sick.
So, yeah, my
Hell
fans, they
yeah.
love videos of her. They love, all types of. I want to do more fitness stuff too. That's definitely in the works. I'm always getting the comments asking me for like workout routines and stuff. So like that's I just gotta schedule all of that, get it done. But outside of that, I'm currently in school. I'm still studying. Taking forever to finish, but we'll get there eventually. Um, and I did just have an internship at a company, but that ended. So I'm trying to find something new now to do other than content. But like
Hmm.
life is life, and you got to keep up with the. When you got a family, you
Life is
gotta make
life,
sure
and
you. Yeah.
I think that's the thing too, man. Because like me and my partner, we're expecting so our first. So I understand full heartedly what that means. Like when family mode hits, it's like a different gear. It's a different thing. It just feels like everything shifts to like necessity. Is like it's a weird feeling. So like I guess one of the things is like what drives you to do that? Like what's like, obviously it seems like you have a broad scope of like understanding like the kind of the big thing, right? Like is creators that are in the anime space don't own the IPs. So it's like, well, how much can you do? Where's the wall? Where do you hit to where it's like, okay, I can't really grow past a particular point? Like did you see that early on? Was it just something that you just kind of aware of, or like what was that insight for you that helped you understand those things early?
I had a mentor who's not my mentor anymore, but he would always be in my ear, just like telling me, because he makes a lot of money in Hollywood, and he would be always in my ear because he always wanted me to go to Juilliard and all these schools, but I don't want to go to I don't want to do that. But he would be like, "Oh, you need to make sure you have like these legit credentials. You have to this and this and this and that." And I saw just how easy it was for even just watching celebrities, how when they try to pigeonhole themselves into something, and if they don't own their own stuff, they eventually have to just do whatever they're told. You see that with like with artists, with not even just artists, with actors now. I've seen a couple actors come out and say, "Oh, I'm not getting paid what I want to get paid," blah blah blah, whatever. But what I learned was because I used to only make anime content, and because I had like so many other anime content creators that I knew when I first started making content, I knew from the start that it was going to become a oversaturated thing because it's really easy to make certain types of anime content. So you got to stand out. I think I do a really good job of standing out because of my personality primarily. Because if you as you can see, I'm really talkative. I'm really expressive. I'm really passionate. I would say that's my big thing. When I'm talking, I got a way of making people believe what I'm saying. Like I'm like, yo, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go get this. I'm gonna go do this, and people are like, yo, I believe you. I got that anime MC character energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's I
Exactly.
think the biggest thing
Exactly.
is like I think the biggest thing is just recognizing who you are, and then just like playing into that. Like I know that I'm a passionate person, but I know that that can be taken too far sometimes because I come from a place where we all speak very aggressively. So in my early days of making content, I would get a little too aggressive talking to people, and then that would come back and bite me. So it's about learning who you are, identifying that, finding out what your strengths are, and then just like going full speed with those strengths. And also being willing to learn too and learn from your mistakes. That's a big thing. And then not only that, you asked me what drives me. It's also my family as well. Like I have an amazing wife. I love my son.
Mm,
He's awesome, and I just want to make sure I'm doing following my dreams so that way I can eventually
right.
make sure that they good.
it seems like you've definitely have like this concept really down in terms of like what it is that you want your child to see. Like what's he gonna absorb? Because like you definitely have that lead by example philosophy down, which is incredible. Because I think a lot of times some people don't really grasp that, especially kids. Like they do what you do, not what you say. It's so interesting, and so I think that's really cool. Like I guess my next question, because it kind of leads into this kind of perfectly, is like, was there any, like, what was like the first anime show that you saw that you were like, you just connected with? What was that first thing that really like took you to a place of like, this is like really yeah.
That's easy. It's Naruto. Absolutely, it's Naruto. I still remember the first episode of Naruto I ever watched in my life. Naruto was the first anime that really taught me the value of never giving up, which is why I'm able to now, when I see a video come up that I pop up. Let me re-say that. When I drop a video and it only does 2,000 views, I'm like, I don't care. Tomorrow, the next one gonna go crazy, and I'm gonna keep posting. The only way you're able to keep doing that, to keep going, is if you have that I don't give up energy. And I got that,
Right.
honestly, initially from Naruto as a kid. No matter what I put my mind to, it was always I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pushing. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of other anime that inspire me as well, but you said the first one, so that's why I said it's definitely Naruto.
Yeah, and the reason why is like I think a lot of times, at least from what I've gathered, it's that first one is usually the first one that you really like gravitate to. It leaves an imprint on you, and it's one of those things where, regardless of if there's any other show that ever comes out, you're always attached to this particular story in a way that others you just can't with other stuff. It's a natural bias. It's like it connected with you at a particular point in time, and there's nothing that somebody can really talk you out of like why it's not this to you. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, it's I had just watched Naruto late. I watched it when I was 18, not 18, 2018, and I was like, this show is incredible. It's in my top 5. And I was like, if I was a kid, I would have loved this even more. Like if I saw that as a teenager, it would have been like it would have been a crazy unlock for me, right? But that story didn't exist when I was a teenager, so I was like, I wouldn't have been able to, you know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where it was just a point in time where I'm like, man, seeing it when I saw it, I was like, man, if I saw this as a teenager, this would have been crazy. So do you feel like so from what you were saying, you took some of those philosophies into how you operate even on your channel, of just like the never give up and just keep persisting, kind of how Naruto does in the show, full stop. That's kind of his whole mantra.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I did. I Naruto, I watched it at a time when I was so young that I definitely think it made like a super huge impact on me as a person. Now, I don't really think that I fall into that category where I'm just naturally biased towards the first anime that I watched, and that it has like an unbridled effect on me. I just think it makes me want to explore more, because there's another anime I saw called Gurren Lagann, which a lot of people
Mm,
haven't watched, that I watched at a really important moment in my
mm,
life, and that anime changed my life, because that anime is
mm,
just like Naruto in the sense of the never give up
mm.
aspect of it, but it's so much more meaningful to me. Like I actually, oh no, I don't. I was gonna say Gurren Lagann's in my top 3 favorite anime. Um, I wanted to say Naruto is my probably my most favorite of all time. So you definitely have a point with the bias, but I got Naruto, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, and then Gurren Lagann. I'd say so. All of those anime have that.
Yeah, I literally just reacted to Good and Lagann. Uh, it's a fantastic story, and I think it was one of those things. And I had heard this from one of my mentors when I was your age, actually, and he had told me, believe in someone else's belief in you until your belief kicks in, and that's literally what Simone needed to figure out early on, right? It was like as soon as I saw that, I was like, yo, this is awesome. Like this, the story of that is was told so well in a digestible amount of time. Like it wasn't like, hey, let's just have a ridiculous amount of episodes. Like it was a nice, short, sweet, concise story. And to be honest, bro, probably the strongest mech I have ever seen. Full stop. Like
Oh
the
yeah, one
power
hundred
scale of
percent.
this mecha is outrageous. Oh
Yes.
man. I was like, hold on, time out. This dude's breaking space time, and I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, as a mech, like, cause you're like, oh, it's a robot. Like, all right, cool. I've seen robots. It's a completely different concept, and it kind of it breaks any expectation you think when you hear, oh, it's a mech anime. It's like it's not. It's weird. It's hard to explain why it doesn't feel like a mech anime until you watch it and you're like, this is wonky as shit. It's like this. It's so wild, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So with Gurren Lagann, like, because you said it changed your life. Like, what about it? What was the message for you that was like a pivotal switch?
What was it about that? That anime had so many gems in it. It's insane. Like, someone really important to me passed away at that time, and I was just like so sad, angry, and honestly, just I didn't want to do anything. Um, and just watching like Simone Kamina come from underground. They want to drill to the heavens. They want to live on the surface. They want to do all of these things. Then all of Kamina's speeches just really really hit me like in my soul. I felt like um Simone declaring that his drill is his soul. Just Kamina's death. Like all of these different things, like they all like severely impacted me to the point that I was just like, yo, like I can do anything as long as like I keep drilling. Like that's basically what it was. Like, so yeah, that's
It's sometimes really easy to hear a story, right? You hear a story and like, oh, that's really dope. It's another to take the concept and apply it. You know what I mean? Like, and actually apply that concept in real life and move like that character did. And it's one of those things that I think anime has such a powerful philosophy with, but I think sometimes we watch it just as entertainment, full stop. Right? We're like, oh man, it's so dope, blah, blah. And it's like, if you could apply just a piece of what this person is doing or how they're thinking to what you do, what is the level up for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you level up through life with these things that you're now picking up? And it seems like for you, you adopted the Naruto philosophy and just had it amplified with Simon. You know what I'm saying? It was like you had this crazy supercharge, and it. So like, because obviously like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all these things happened at different points in time, right? And TikTok, you have how many people do you have following you on TikTok right now?
I think like 1.3 million, something like that. But TikTok is, it's all about for you page. So it's not really like your followers don't really see your videos that often.
Right, but I mean, let's kind of put this into perspective though. Like, you have over 1 million people that have said, yo, this content is fire. I want to follow this guy. I like his videos. Like when you're watching these animes as a kid, and even like as you started to become more into your adulthood, was that ever a thought in your mind of like, yo, I'm about to pop off on this platform, I'm about to have 1 million followers on this platform? Was that a goal for you, or was that just a result of your relentless work ethic?
It definitely wasn't a goal of mine when I was a kid. I would say it didn't really become a goal of mine until after I saw what was possible, after I made that first Fortnite dance video. Um, I didn't start really even wanting to be a YouTuber content creator until I got to high school. In middle school, it was more so just I was watching it for entertainment, but also I was definitely watching these shows because they resonated with me so much as a kid. Like, and it went beyond just anime too. Like I was watching animation. I just always loved cartoons. Japanese cartoons, American cartoons didn't matter. Um, and if it had a message behind it, I loved it more than if it didn't. If it, I'm not really one of those people that ever just watches anything necessarily for just entertainment. Like all of my favorite shows that are not even just anime all have some type of lesson they're teaching, be it a lesson of you know how to move in real life, a lesson of power, teaching you how to navigate the world. I love Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is one of my favorite shows in the world. Um, and I don't necessarily just watch Game of Thrones for entertainment. Yeah, so I love Breaking Bad. I just recently watched that. All these different shows, they all, just stories in general. They all teach you something. And it's your job to, I feel like, as a person to, if you're going to be, consuming all of this media, you kind of have a responsibility to pull something from it to benefit your life. It's that, you don't want to just waste all your time just watching it just to be like, oh, this is great. Because there's always going to be something that comes along that is entertaining in some way, shape, or form. But I always knew I wanted to do something as a kid. I'll say that. Um, I wanted to be something, and now it just so happens to be that content creation, making my own stuff. Um, it might not. It's definitely not going to stop with content, making videos. Like that's not my end goal. I want to make my own stuff. So have people invested in my IPs, but that takes time, it takes effort, that takes energy, and right now I'm a one man show, so but
I mean, that's dope though. Like, it's like, I think sometimes, you know, I guess I'll give you like a little bit from my perspective is like, I'm very like you. Like, I knew when I was going through high school, I wanted a particular life for myself. And at the time, I was doing a lot of music production and recording. I was a recording artist. And I didn't really like how the industry was. I was like, I don't know if I want to do
oh
that. And I
yeah,
got into dancing, and I was dancing professionally for the longest. So, so it was like going into that, and I was a professional dancer for some time. And again, I was like, this isn't really where things are that I want to pursue. So, it was just a constant discovery for myself of trying to figure out what it was. And along the way, I'm acquiring skills and knowledge and X, Y, and Z, and meeting people to mentor me and stuff like that. So it came to a point where YouTube kind of fell in my lap. I was helping produce for a channel called Ismahawk. We're a live action studio that does stuff for TV shows and stuff like that. But Danny, the CEO of Ismahawk, was like, "You should do a YouTube channel." And I was like, "You think so?" He's like, "Dude, like, you're the biggest geek I know. Like, you should do a YouTube channel." And I was already good at speaking. I could public speak in front of thousands of people, no problem. It just wasn't an issue for me. So I was like, maybe I could do something. And I kind of just fell into it, just like, I'll do a video a week. And I was doing tech at the time. I was like, do a video a week, and by the end of the year, I'll have 52 videos. That's all I was thinking about. I wasn't trying to be like, oh, every day because at the time it was 2015, 2016. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to try to do some shit. And things just led to another and led to another. So I agree with you where it's like, you kind of you have an idea of the lifestyle or what you kind of want to do, or you want to be known for something or do something, but sometimes it's just a path of like, I don't know what, but I'm gonna keep moving forward and see like where things are and how they kind of line up for myself. Is that kind of what you were talking about as well? Like, it's just kind of like a persistent motion of trying new things?
I would say it's definitely trying new things. That's a big part of it, but the other part of it is, again, like I said at the beginning, you got to know who you are. And the earlier you can figure out who you are and tune into what your strengths are, the better. For me, I was kind of similar to you. I hate feeling like I am being told what to do. I hate feeling like I have to jump into some machine. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when we talk about the industries, these different things,
Yeah.
let's say you go into the dance industry. One thing I really don't like about the dance industry is that it seems like no dancers actually gain any type of fame unless they have some sort of gimmick. Like you probably know they twins. They dance with Beyonce. Also, in the dance industry, they're always like the height of being a dancer. A lot of times is like being a backup dancer for some celebrity. And I'm like, I don't want to be a backup dancer. I want to be the guy that they come to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, so me as a person, I have no problem with never dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to dance for y'all. I'll go make a video and dance. And if it's trash, I'll get better. That's who I am. A lot of people are like, I'm gonna go dance for
Right.
this person. I'm gonna try to work my way up. F that. I don't need to do that. It's either I'm gonna
Yeah.
win the way I want to win, and if I find somebody, and their framework, I feel like I can follow it. That's one thing. You know, you got to be able to work with people. That's not what I'm saying, but they got to be able to fit into who you are as a person as well. A lot of times in these different industries,
Mm.
they don't want you to win. They want you to be kind of like a I've been playing a lot of Pal World, so they want you to be one of their Pokemon. They don't want you to win. They want you to keep boosting up what they got
Okay.
going on. So yeah, that's my thing. Like I just really realized early on, like it's like if I can't make my own stuff, I don't want it to exist. And I'm cool with you know being my own Pokemon, but I'm not about to be your Pokemon. That's not about to happen. Not when it comes to my dream. You know what I'm saying?
And that's something that I think that I'm glad that you find for yourself. Like you were saying, like I think some people at times take on other people's they try to take on other people's mantras or become other people that they actually aren't. And I think sometimes it sucks when you find out that you're not the person you thought you were. Right? There's some times where people are like, "Oh, they saw a Gary Vee video 2 years ago and now they're an entrepreneur." And it's like sometimes that's not for everyone, right? In the same way that I couldn't go out and be a firefighter. I'm not built for that. That's just not what I'm built for, right? I have no aspirations of running into a fire. That's just not something that I know I'm built for, right? I'm not built for, hey, I want to be a WWE wrestler. I'm not built for that, right? So it's figuring out, like you said, like who are you? And I think I think as humans, especially now with everything readily available to us on social media and on the internet, I think we get caught up sometimes in the highlight reel of certain people's lives, and we say, "Man, I want to do that." Or I want to be a creator, or I want to be this and that, but they only see the winning. They only see when this person has become who they're following. They haven't watched the hours of grueling work or years of grueling work that led up to the point where you started to follow them. And I think that sometimes is the rude awakening for some. When they're like, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber," they start a channel, they buy all this equipment, and then 2 months in, they're not making any more content. And it's because sometimes, not all, but sometimes it feels like they got bought into someone else's dream and thought it was theirs. They're like, "Oh, I'm that person," and it's like, but maybe you're not that person. And it's great to find out if that is the case. But if you really think that you are, it might hit you like a ton of bricks when you find out that you're not the person that you thought you were.
Yeah. It's just you just as a young person, you gotta just try things. You gotta try and try and
Yeah,
try and just try things all the time, so that way you can find out what you actually like to do. Unfortunately, when you try things, you might not like them, and you unfortunately you do have to stick with things
correct.
long enough to see if you're good at them, which is a big problem. That's been a problem for me, but that's a problem for a lot of people. The only reason why I would say quit is if like I want to, like for me, I knew I wanted to create. It didn't necessarily have to be in the dance industry. It didn't have to necessarily be um creating whatever it was, when I wanted to make videos, when I want to make whatever it is. I'm not going to go listen to somebody that is in that industry and work for them when they're telling me that they don't put absolutely zero effort into building me up either. It has to be some sort of value exchange. In a lot of these industries, they don't want to offer that value exchange. They want to take and take and take from you, but never produce. And it takes a certain amount of person who has a dream to say, you know what, you are extremely successful. You are doing my dream and you're doing it to a certain degree. But at the same time, I'm not going to sacrifice that dream to be close to you. That takes a certain type of person to be able to be like, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm a work hard. I'm a create what I want to do. Or if I don't make it as far, like I'm gonna give you a quote from one of my favorite anime, One Piece. Roronoa
Mm.
Zoro, right when he was about to fight Bartholomew Kuma, or I don't know if it was this
Hmm.
moment, but it might have been a little bit further than that. And he literally was like, if I die here and now, then I'm a man that was only meant to make it this far. That's another anime quote that I etched into my
Boy,
soul because how I
that's a
see it is
bar.
that
It's a bar.
right, you can't be as a person, you cannot be, oh, this person is where I want to be, so I'm gonna be around them and my goal is just to work for them. No, the way you do it is you work hard and you work to produce what you want to produce. And if you don't make it to their level, so like you made some dope shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be perfectly fine with that, you know? I got my wife. I'm perfectly fine with the way our relationship is. It don't need to go nowhere else. I'm happy. I could die right now and I'm happy with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I see things. I didn't always see things this way. But, you know, once you get there though, once you're accepting, you know, you got to grind for you. You got to grind for your dreams, but at the same time, you got to be comfortable with where you are to the point that you're comfortable with if God took you off this planet right now, you know, you like, hey, I pursued my dream. That's all that matters. I tried. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you 100%, bro. And I think that's something that like that quote is super powerful. And I think even in that, like the concept of not comparing your result to somebody else at times is something we get into, like this little mental trap of like, damn, well they've been, it's
Hmm.
like, well, they may have been doing it longer. Let's maybe start with that. Like they may have had a particular point in time where they got in and it was everything is going to have some essence of luck, right? Especially if you're online. Like as a creator, I could say, oh, well, I worked X amount of hours and did X, Y, and Z, and that's why my channel's so big. I could say that. But also, what also is true is when I started, there was nowhere near as many people that are trying to do YouTube when I started that there is now. So there is a point of luck into that, of like, who saw me, that somebody spread my thing and it went crazy. Like, there's a little bit of luck involved in this process as well, but you don't get to be lucky without the labor. You don't get to be lucky without the action. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to do something though to sometimes get lucky, and I think that's the interesting thing of what you were saying is like, hey man, if this is where you end up, that's what you did, but you did this. You did it. Nobody else did it. You did it. And I think that's actually a really dope philosophy to hold on to at times, because we get too caught up on comparing our success with somebody else's. And it's like we don't get a chance to
You
say,
can
man, yeah, I actually did that. That's actually pretty dope.
yeah, you can compare yourself, but only from the perspective of I would say business. Like if you're comparing yourself to try to like learn like what other people are doing so that way you can like improve what you're doing or you're seeing them as like competition, that's one thing. But to want to be that person, to want what they have, you can't do that because as the great J. Cole said, no such thing as a life better than yours. Like you have to focus on what you got going on. You know, you can pay attention to what everybody else going on, but you gotta mostly focus on what you're doing. And yeah, that's how you need to move. Because if you don't move like that, what's going to end up happening is you are going to basically be an off-brand version of that person that you're looking so much into. And as for the luck component of it, I think that you need to be prepared to when that luck comes. And I think that's a big problem. Some people are able to,
Mm,
they get lucky, they blow up on social media. Or do they have longevity though?
yeah,
Are they able to maintain that success? Um, yeah, if you got lucky, amazing. Like some people made hundreds of thousands of dollars when crypto came up. A lot of those people are also broke now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get lucky, but having the skills, having the mindset, having the everything that you need to have to maintain that, so it's not just a splash in the pan. That's a big component of it that a lot of people don't realize. Yeah, you can make a video. I made a video that got 1 million views on Fortnite. I don't get no views from Fortnite people no more. Why? Because when I was 16, I wasn't prepared to be making videos. There are content creators who blew up off of Fortnite. Now they get like 20 views per video.
correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
it's it, you know
yeah.
it's with content creation or anything in life. It's really like you just gotta keep chipping and improving over time. And even if you do get lucky, it means nothing if you're not able to actually use that luck to do something with it.
No, I'm 100% with you. And like, uh, one of my mentors that told me that luck is an acronym for labor under correct knowledge. And it was always something to me where I was like, man, like, and it was just one of those things of like, to your point, which is why when I started my channel, I was like, look, if I just focus on a video a week, I'll have 52 videos by the end of the year. I wasn't expecting to go viral. I didn't have any expectation of how crazy this could get. I was just like, I just want to do my one video a week on tech products and X, Y, and Z. And hopefully by the end of the year, when things start to actually, people start to see my work, they'll say, oh, he has 52 videos on this channel. Maybe I'll subscribe. Because I had seen other people that had like a crazy cat video. It went viral, 20 million views. And you go to their channel and there's just no other videos on their channel and they have no subscribers. And I was like, okay, so it's not about just having a viral video. It wasn't just, oh, you had this one thing that popped off, but it's like there was nothing else or anybody else to say, hey, I want to see what else this person is going to do. So I agree with you 100% of like being prepared it's one of those like stay ready so you don't have to get ready vibes, right? It's like, hey, like I'm gonna stay prepared and stay ready to go. So when my opportunity comes, I'm good. Like I'm not like, oh damn, something popped off and now I don't know what to do with it. So
Hey,
yeah,
we
that's
can
so
use
true,
anime
bro.
for this.
That's so
If you never do your training arc, when that villain comes, you gonna get your ass whooped because you didn't train, you didn't prepare to fight the villain. So when they squat wipe your whole
facts.
village, that's why, because you didn't do training arc. So there you go.
That's so true, and I think that's kind of the thing. Like, for myself, when I see these shows, and a lot of people when they watch my reactions, they're always like, "Man, you always break stuff down," and a lot of it though is because I see the philosophies in them, and it's so interesting when I see now. How prevalent anime is in mainstream with people, actors, athletes talking about anime. It's like this thing that's everywhere. And I'm like, it's so intriguing to me because I'm like, all these other artists, athletes, professionals that utilize these things and love these things. It's like, well, why do you like it so much? And I think it's because of these things that we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, you could watch, like, why is that the medium that some people decide that they feel is the most valuable to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, people have been doing regular movies in cinema, TV shows, live action stuff forever. There's been animated stuff forever, but nobody talks about, man, one of the shows, man, SpongeBob changed my life. Like, nobody says that. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, anime as a genre, people attach themselves to this. And I think for me, seeing people like yourself and others that have, aspired to want to pursue something, we all have this similar, thing that's congruent with all of us. We all have the same common denominator. Have you felt that, like, when you look up to certain people or people that you're into?
Yeah, man, we all got that one and for all in us, bro. Like it's it's a connected thing. If you watch anime, especially if you watch it as a kid, you learn lessons that you would not learn watching other TV shows. Watching SpongeBob, like my wife loves SpongeBob. It's her favorite show in the whole world. SpongeBob is
It's
nothing but you
hilarious.
turn it
Yeah,
on and you watch. Yeah, it's great. It's really funny. But SpongeBob isn't teaching you anything important. Like you're
yeah,
not learning anything of substance from SpongeBob other
right,
than just laughing, which is fine. She's the person. She's
right.
the type of person that is always laughing. So I'm not that person though. I need and a lot of men aren't. We don't really have the luxury of uh, always laughing. You know what I'm saying? But when you watch anime, especially when you watch, um, I wanted to say I consider Avatar an anime, so I don't care what anybody says. It's an anime in my opinion. So when you watch shows like Avatar, anime,
Hmm.
um, you learn these really important lessons. You learn all of these great things that you would not learn watching all of these other shows. So you can take those with you when you go out into the world and when you do things. The only problem I have with anime is that it's not perfect. And nothing is, but anime, it could be, in my opinion, perfect if they just didn't do certain things. Like if they didn't use certain tropes over and over and over again. Or if they didn't you know, like One Piece, for example, with the pacing. Pacing in One Piece is awful. If they fix that, the show would be beautiful, for me. Or Naruto with the random filler arcs that they throw in the middle of the war arc, right? Like, why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are problems with anime that like honestly a lot of people nowadays, even like when they get into watching it for the first time, they're like, oh, I can't deal with this is too much. Like if I put my wife on the Black Clover and she saw Gosh or Ghosh or whatever his name is simping over his little sister, she'd be like, dog, what is this? Like, so I definitely think it's
Mm.
important lessons that it teach you, but because it's so mature, I think that the people that watch it when they're kids, they kind of like have a different mentality towards looking at life than somebody who just watches just purely entertainment based things. We used to make jokes about people that would like watch Riverdale, and it's like, bro, you watch Riverdale, you can't talk about anime. You watch Grey's Anatomy, you can't talk about anime. Like, the problem is anime will create a better Grey's Anatomy than Grey's Anatomy, and that's what the issue is.
I guess I'll touch on some of those things too, because like I, because I'm in production, I kind of understand why Naruto and One Piece have the filler and the padding that they have. I hate it. It drives me nuts. But a lot of it is because of how they're aired. It's like I'll give an example of like a CW show. So like things like The Flash. The Flash doesn't need to be 24, 26 episodes. It could be 12 episodes, no problem. The problem is CW needs to make the show needs to make money. So they're like, all right, well, we can spend less money shooting an episode and get paid from ads on that run on that show on the CW channel for advertisers to pay for it. So it'll actually cover more costs for the show. And with like the weekly shonens that would come out, like Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, especially One Piece, they just have just continued that. They haven't decided to stop and just go seasonal. They just continue the weekly thing. And I
Hmm.
think that's what's been kind of driving a lot of people frustrating with it, because a lot of animes that have been coming out that are seasonal don't have this padding issue. They don't have the filler issue because they're like, all right, well, it's primarily focused for a streaming audience. And then also the world that we're in, people's attention is this short. We don't have time to be wasting on filler episodes. We just don't. Right? We could turn off this show immediately and go to something else if this is something that we're not liking. So I think,
Yep.
I hope to God I wanted this to happen. It's not gonna happen. But I was like, this final arc of One Piece, like, if y'all could just do this seasonal, I think everybody would be more excited. I was like, it would suck for some that are hardcore fans and want to see it week to week. But I think for the sake of the story, I think it would probably be more beneficial. I think Thousand Year Blood War is a perfect example of what they're of saying, okay, look, we're just going to come back and do cores, knock these core episodes out, and not just have ridiculous filler because we could just draw it out if we wanted to.
yeah, I get the reasons why. I get having to like, you got to make money, you got to do this, you got to do that. But like you can't sacrifice your product to try to make a quick buck. And that's what I feel like one Naruto did with the filler, and that's what I feel like One Piece definitely does with the pacing. But people, the stories are so amazing that people are going to resonate with them anyway. So I mean, Naruto's still my favorite anime regardless. One Piece is my top 5 regardless. So I mean, I don't care that much, but it does make a significant impact when you got anime like JJK coming out and they're doing seasonal and the pacing is amazing, because now if I'm sitting down as an anime fan, I'm like, bro, I'm about to go watch JJK. I'm not about to watch Luffy bounce around for 10 minutes in this new form that he just got. Like, this is dumb. Like, I'm cool. Um, so, yeah.
Hey, that's funny. That's funny. I mean, I think that's the thing though. Like, we're very similar in the fact that at least it seems like this because, my favorite anime of all time is Dragon Ball. Like I grew up watching that, right? It came out on Toonami when it was airing for the first time. I was in middle school going into high school, right? So I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like, and I loved it, right? And it was one of those things where for me in my top, when people say, what's your top 5? I'm like, well, I don't put Dragon Ball in there. Like I don't put it in it. It means too much to me. But at the same time, I'm very critical of the series. Like I'm a person that's saying, hey, I can love something, but also be very objective about it as well. And I feel like I've gotten that also from you where it's like, hey, I like this, but it's like, but this isn't perfect stuff here. And, with me, it's like when I saw Dragon Ball Super early on, I was like, oh, I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here?
Oh, yeah.
Like, these are my
Yeah,
favorite
Dragon Ball
characters.
Super,
Like,
bro.
what's
No.
going on? What's going on? And bro, it just started off real rough, right? And I'm like, fuck, like I'm gonna watch it because these are my guys, but god damn it, like we need to figure this out. And it was one of those things where it slowly got better and better, but it was never I wouldn't be like, oh man, this anime is the GOAT. Like, no, it's not. I just love it. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's just a thing that I grew up with. I love it. I love the characters. I love what it helped me do as a teenager. So for me, I just resonate with the feeling that it gives me. It's like that comfort nostalgia, right? But I'm fully aware that there's other shows that are better animated, that have better storytelling, that, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like, I know that this is my thing, you know what I'm saying? But I agree with you with Naruto, bro. Like my girlfriend and I are watching it now for the first time she's her first time. And she had the same issues that I had with it when I first watched it. I was like, bro, these flashbacks, this fucking unnecessary long pause of shit. Like, we're still like, when we're watching the Zabuza fight, and she was like, they're still on this bridge. She's like, Jesus Christ. And it was just funny because for a non-shonen fan, she doesn't understand the tropes. She doesn't understand the reasons why these shows took so long to do shit. She's just viewing it as a viewer. And I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, you know what's so funny? I thought the same thing, and I'm an anime fan. Like, I was thinking the same thing when I watched it originally. I was like, so it's just so funny though. Like, but I love this. Like, I said, Naruto's in my top 5, so I love this shit. But it's so funny that you brought those things up because I think anime fans, full stop, that love shit never want to talk about how bad some things can get.
Dog. And oh my God, especially One Piece fans. Especially One Piece fans. One Piece fans think One Piece is perfect, and I hate it. And like, as a One Piece fan, I'll be ready to gum punch every single one of them. But yes, this is a very big problem in the anime community. Um, But for me personally, I've never had that problem about anything that I love. Every single anime that I love, I'm able to criticize it. One of my favorite anime of all time is Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail was in my top 10 favorite anime. Was in my top 5 for the longest until One Piece got fire. Um, a lot of people
I've never
criticize
seen
Fairy
it.
Tail without watching.
I've never seen it.
Dog, I love Fairy Tale. Mainly because of the friendship component. And a
Okay,
lot of people hate the power of friendship.
got
But
it.
that's why I love the show. Because it's not like, because one of my biggest pet peeves with people in the anime, in the anime community, is because they judge some shit without actually watching it. And I feel like that's a really bad thing to fall into. With
Mm,
Dragon Ball, most people that watch anime today have not seen the original Dragon Ball. So they kind of like jump in at Dragon Ball
nope.
Z or they jump in at Dragon Ball Super, and then they expect to understand everything that's
Yep.
going on. And I'm like, okay, imagine if you started watching One Piece and you
Yeah.
started after skipping the entire East Blue arc, right? If you went straight to the Grand Line, you
Right.
wouldn't understand who these people are on the team. You wouldn't understand the importance of Krillin. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand why why Sanji don't fight with his hands. You know, these are all important things that you have to watch the whole show. A lot of people, they don't understand that Goku swam across an entire ocean at 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? Or however old he was. Or he was faster than lightning. He trained with Mr. Popo and was faster than lightning as a child. You know what I'm saying? Which automatically makes him faster than most other anime characters by default at the beginning of the show. You know what I'm saying? So these are all things that um, people don't understand because they don't actually watch anime for real. And that'd be one of my biggest critiques when I be arguing with people on the internet. I'd be like, you don't really watch anime for real. That's why you have this opinion. You know? Because if you watched anime for real, you wouldn't be saying what you're
Yeah.
saying right now. That's the one thing. But when it comes to criticizing things that you love, all of my favorite shows, I got Gurren Lagann, Naruto, um, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, One Piece, Death Note. All of these shows, I got a problem with at least one of them in some way, shape, or form. You know, but I'm able to criticize everything I love. I love shows that are not even anime. I love Prison Break. Breaking Bad. All of these shows, I got a problem with all of them. This is something I didn't like that they did. You know, it's certain characters that I hate. You know, but this is what media is. You know, this is you got to be able to do that. A lot of people, a big problem that a lot of anime fans have also is recency bias. Whatever they seen most recently, they cannot critique it. Like it's just too perfect. Like Jujutsu Kaisen is so many people who will not critique Jujutsu Kaisen now. They love that show. They're like, oh nah, this this
For
this show
sure.
is perfect. I can't do it. Or they'll say things like, Gojo beats Goku. I'm
Yep.
like, bro, okay. So not only did you not watch Dragon Ball, not only do you not know what you're talking about, but you say things like, oh, Gojo has limitless, so Goku can't touch him. I'm like, bro, Goku has an ability that instantly teleports him to wherever he wants to be. He can teleport through limitless. Like, let's be serious. Like, but it's all when you watch so many shows, you're able to critique it. When you only watch a couple,
For sure. For sure. And I think that's the thing, bro, is like, a lot of times I akin this to like sports where there's gonna be new athletes that are doing things on a regular that older athletes, somebody invented it, right? Somebody created this particular move or thing, and now it's just like commonplace, right? So they assume that, oh, these new players or new whatever are by default just better players. And it's one of those things where with anime, it's a very similar thing. People say, oh, what's a new show? So by default, it must be better than an older show. And it's like, in some cases, that might be the case, but that's not always the case. It's just not always the case. And I think that's one of those things where, to your point, when we first started seeing Dragon Ball anything, Dragon Ball Z came on Toonami first. That's the first thing that we all saw. I didn't even know Dragon Ball existed. So I was like, what? And then I had found something online and I was like, why is this kid Goku? What's going on? And then I started trying to find video of Dragon Ball. So it was something that I had to do research on at the time because it wasn't airing in the States, right? So, and that was
right?
before Funimation had even started to dub Dragon Ball. It was the Ocean dub that we had here in the States. It wasn't the Funimation dub with Sean Schimmel. So it was a completely different voicing cast. So it was one of those things where now I can talk to people. It's like, okay, this person probably actually hasn't seen Dragon Ball at all. Like, and again, cool, no big deal. But I think it's one of those things. To your point, if you want to start talking in terms of factual information about a particular character, or you want to have the theoretical debates on who versus who, it's like, I don't know if you really understood the show properly or watched all of this show to really have an educated discussion about said character. Which is why, like, anytime people ask me about characters, I'm like, well, I haven't seen the show, so I can't really tell you if this person is stronger than this person. In my opinion, I have no fucking idea. I was like, but it's really funny when I see people get passionate about it.
Power scaling and debating anime character strength is a really murky area because there's so much that you have to either include or exclude, and that's the problem with it. Like certain times you'll hear certain things that, for example, certain things that I hear in the power scaling community, I immediately go, "That's bullshit." I'm not. I don't. But that's my own subjective opinion, right? Some people, when they debate, they do verse equalization. And what that means is that Goku's ki is the exact same thing as Naruto's chakra. It's the same thing. I think that's stupid. I'm not doing that. But some people do that. So you have characters that have hacks. You have characters that have abilities that allow them to, prevent other characters from fighting, like Itachi's Genjutsu or Giorno Giovanna's Golden Experience Requiem sets your fighting experience to zero, and you don't want to fight anymore. Like these are all abilities, but then you have one character though who can just beat people's asses, and that's Goku, right? Like he got hands for days. And here's the problem: you got a universal level beyond multi-universal level threat, and you got these characters who have these abilities that are hacks. A lot of Dragon Ball fans get irritated because I'm a Dragon Ball fan, so I'm gonna say we feel like not only did you not watch the show, you didn't understand the show, but you're gonna take this character that is weak as crap but has a hack and just say they can beat Goku like he can't speed blitz them. That's the problem. But for me, it goes the same with like Naruto too. Like if I'm watching Naruto and somebody is like, "Oh, Luffy beats Naruto," and I'm like, "So we just gonna act like Naruto's not at a certain level of powerful? Like Naruto's planetary, confirmed, right? Luffy is not even island level. So like, but here's the thing though. If you do verse equalization, hockey, chakra, it all becomes like this really like equivalent thing. So that's the big problem. Like when you're arguing different verses and stuff, they all have different power systems and it's really hard to figure out. But in my personal opinion, I would say, if we have clear defining evidence just from watching the show that this character is able to do this thing, like for example, we know for a fact that Goku can destroy a universe. We saw him and Beerus collide fists and everything almost get destroyed. We know that that's the thing. So it's not that hard to say Goku beats this character unless they use this hack. In my personal opinion, that's how I feel about it. When we saw Beerus tap the table and half the planet blow up, I'm like, who doing it like that? Who's handling that? But then we get into characters like with OP abilities like Rimuru Tempest, Anos from Misfit of the Demon King Academy. Like these are all characters that definitely can beat Goku. They can beat and I like having those debates too. But it really where I get irritated is when we say, "Oh, Deku beats Goku because Deku has this ability." Blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Like I'm cool.
And I think that's something too, because like obviously, like you have a lot of content online discussing like these types of debates, right? And what's the most annoying take for you with the content that you do? What's the most annoying take for you when you hear things in the anime space in terms of like scaling verses and stuff?
So one, I would say I'm not scared to make a bad take. That's a really big thing for me. Like I'm like if I make a bad take, I'm cool with that. If I'm gonna get ratioed in the comments, whatever. But that there are certain takes that I cannot stand that just piss me off. The first one is for some reason lately people have been saying that Bleach inspires everything, and I hate that. Like, don't get me wrong, Bleach is like one of my least favorite anime. I really don't like it. There are certain things that I like about Bleach. I love the character design, I love the music, I love the I love Ichigo. I really like Ichigo, but I don't like the story of Bleach. I don't like the plot. But for some reason, someone like, for example, the creator of Black Clover, he was like, "Oh, I was inspired by Bleach," and I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. I don't care that he was inspired by Bleach. He was clearly
Right.
inspired by Naruto too. Like, it's obvious he was inspired by Naruto. Same thing with Jujutsu Kaisen. It's obviously it was inspired partially by Naruto too. I have no a problem being like Bleach definitely inspired this creator, but clearly Naruto inspired it too. And I don't like how people try to make Naruto seem like it was not relevant when Naruto second is only second to One Piece in terms of sales and popularity in the West. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the West, One Piece just became super popular. Naruto was the popular anime of the entire Big Three era. Um, Bleach wasn't even on the charts for real. Bleach got outsold by Fairy Tail in 2009. Like, so when we talk about numbers, when we talk about popularity, I don't like that people try to discount certain shows, like specifically Naruto. I also don't like the Goku debates a lot of times when they don't actually do it properly. And in my opinion, properly is literally you don't got a power skill. You don't got to be crunching numbers in your room. You don't got to be staying in Discord all night, debating. You don't got to do that. All you got to do is watch the show and then make an argument from the show. That's all I care about. If you're making a valid argument, but you got to be willing to receive pushback. Like if I make a video saying, "Hey, I don't think Goku was stupid throughout the entire series. I think that the character assassinated him." I got to be willing to have a video made back in response to me being like, "You're dumb. Goku was stupid." And I'm fine with that. A lot of people are not fine with that. They see people coming back with flack as like a personal attack, which is not the case necessarily. Obviously, if they're like, calling you stupid, if they're saying you're ugly, whatever, then yeah, that's personal attacks. But like, and you don't got to respond to that. You don't got to respond to anything. But yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
but
that
you're
the
talking
the
about more so
Naruto
the
thing,
idea. You're talking about the ideas that you're talking about.
yeah, right. If you make a video and you're coming at my idea of a topic, if you now here's the thing, I'm not going to reply to everything, but if you're pretty clouded up, if I see you putting in the work and you deserve to have attention on your videos too, and I feel like it'll be a good debate, then yeah, I might reply. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people they
Right.
want to they take it. They also you know how you said that there's a certain anime that just means the world to you. And you like for example, for
Yeah.
you that's Dragon Ball. For a lot of people, they feel that way about whatever the most
Right.
recent anime they watched was. So, um,
For
they'll
sure.
say things that don't
For
make any
sure.
sense. Like if you just spent the last 5 weeks binging One Piece, a lot of times people will believe that Luffy is the most strongest anime character ever to exist. And I hate when those people come online and try to debate. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves.
No, no, no. That's actually hilarious. I think that's something that too kind of speaks to your excuse me, kind of speaks to your character, and kind of what you talked about before in terms of like being okay with the critique, even of your favorite stuff. Like it. My thing is this, like, and it kind of goes full stop. If you're okay with under, if you're able to objectively look at things, and be okay with having negative ideas or thoughts about something you love, it actually, for me, it speaks more about you as a person and your character, because it's like you could actually look objectively at yourself, right? Because like the things you like a lot of times is a reflection of who you are, right? It's like, oh, well, I like this because I resonate with said character, or I resonate with this story. It's almost like a mirror, right? So for me, it's like, okay, if they can be objective about the things that they love, more than likely they can probably be objective about themselves. They can probably say, okay, these things I'm really good at, these things I'm not really good at. Or, hey, you know what? I was out of pocket for that. You're right. I probably should have done it this way. Like, it actually kind of shows who this person might actually be in real life if they can really just take a second and say, you know what, yeah, it's probably not the best thing, or yeah, that was a probably trash ass episode. And I got hit for that in, I forgot what anime I was watching. which one was it? Oh my god, I forgot what it was. But it was a popular anime, and I was watching it, and I said something about one of these episodes, and it was really just a boring episode. No, it was Loki. It was the show Loki, and one of the episodes I didn't really care for the show for the first season, and there was one episode that I was like, there's nothing. This episode needed to not exist. It didn't need to exist at all. Why is this? And people were like, are you serious? All the Easter eggs that it had. I was like, it doesn't push the story forward, guys. It's just an Easter egg show. Like, it's an Easter egg episode. Nothing happened in this episode to progress this story. And I love the MCU. Well, up until Endgame, I loved everything. And then after that, it's been hit and miss. But regardless of the fact, that was my critique of it, though, and people went crazy. They're like, "Oh, you're insane," blah blah. I was like, "Dude, this episode did not need to be here," and it was just so funny to me that people got so passionate.
You gotta be willing
that they could not just objectively look at.
Yeah, you gotta be willing to say what you feel, even if you feel like, even if you're gonna get hate for it, you gotta be willing to say that. Like, even when I recently made a video that a lot of people, it went viral, and I was saying that My Hero Academia fell off, and a lot of people disagree with that. They was like, "Oh, you're dumb. The season 6 just went crazy." Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but like, is My Hero Academia as popular as it was in season 3 or season 4? No, it's not, and you know it's not. But I was willing to have people mention me on TikTok. I would say also, in the past, I learned that like not everything requires a response, and that's a big thing that you got to learn as a content creator. And you got to learn it quick, because some people just want to clout chase off you. Some people just want to they want you to respond, so that way they can get their numbers up, or so that way they can some people just like to respond. I remember when I was making videos back when I first blew up, and it was this guy who made 12 videos on me a day, like just duetting me all day long. He was just building an entire community of people that hated me. And I like a dummy, I replied to him, and he started getting more popular. So more people that didn't like me would still flock to him. But I was smart about it. I replied to him on my not as popular channel. Like, I'm not giving you free clout. But like I said, it wasn't about you making takes about my anime takes. If you want to critique what I'm saying about an anime, I don't care about that at all. But when you start personally attacking me, when you start making personal attacks on my appearance, on anybody in my life that I'm posting videos on, my philosophy is just I'm not gonna reply to you. Like, I'm gonna let it sit. um but yeah, you got to be willing to take the heat if you're going to be making videos, and that's in any type of content. If you're trying to be an authority on anything, you got to be willing to you know receive criticism. But with anime, it's just a little bit hard for people, because you can't really be an expert on anime, because most of it is so subjective. Like, most of it is how you feel about stuff. Like, if I'm having a debate about which anime is better, Naruto or One Piece, if I like Naruto more, then I'm gonna say Naruto is better. But I'm gonna get a lot of One Piece fans in my comments saying, "Oh no, One Piece is better because of blah 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 blah." I gotta be willing to be okay with that if I'm making videos saying that Naruto is better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And that's one of those things too. It's like, it's trying to figure out, because people ask me that stuff, and I'm like, well, we can try to objectify it and just go based off of like production stuff, like objective things, like, okay, how many filler episodes does it have? What, where how many low animated quality episodes are there in each? Like, how many, like, if we could try to do that, cool, but it's going to be a very boring conversation. Like, it's not really,
exactly.
It doesn't, art like that is not really meant to be that type of a breakdown. It's art. Like, that's why people love it or don't love it. But before we go, I got to ask you this, because I want to kind of have this be, and we kind of touched on it, but I wanted to see if there's any other. For you, what, I know you talked about Naruto, you talked about Gurren Lagann. You you see, you're 23 or 24?
24.
As 24-year-old Shizzle Mac, what anime would you say encompasses like your life philosophy the most that you've seen? Like what's the thing that you would probably say this is probably some of the things that describes me the most as a person, or things that I've taken from the most to apply towards my life?
Definitely Gurren Lagann. Definitely Gurren Lagann. 100%. Just I literally have a quote from that anime tattooed on my chest. Pierce the heavens with your drill.
Oh
Everything
wow.
that we talked about before, it means the world to me. Like, especially like I said, someone really important to me passed away around that time that I watched it, and just the never give up message. Like it was like Naruto on steroids for me. So yeah, I don't think
Mm,
anything else is touching that in terms of encompassing who I am as a person. If you watch that anime, you understand who I am. You understand why I go so hard. You understand
mm.
why I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym and then coming home and then, doing whatever I'm doing, making videos, going hard for my family. If you don't, if you need that's what I would say. I would give this anime to somebody, watch this, now you understand who I am as a person. And like, so yeah.
Bro, that's fucking sick, man. Shizzle Mac, I appreciate you for being on, bro. I'm very, very happy that we had to have this discussion, and I'm very excited to see how you develop and move forward, bro. And hopefully we get to do this again. But thank you so much for being here, bro.
No problem. No problem.